Well, good morning, guys, and welcome to the show. Today, we're going to talk to you about this guy right here. This is the Kicker LX 1300.7, and well, there's been some confusion as far as how to hook it up, and well, this is part one, and in this particular video, we're going to talk to you about hooking it up to a three-way set where we have a tweeter, a mid-range, and a mid-bass, how to use this controller, and well, all of the steps it takes to dial this in to make your car sound the best that it can. Let's get started. When this amplifier was announced, everyone was really excited because it's 7 channels, which is something we just don't have a lot of. This has 125 watts times 4, it has 65 watts times 2, and then it has a whopping 700 watts for the subwoofer section in it. That is a system amplifier. Then they saw this controller here and they're like, what is this? Hold on. We're gonna explain it all to you so that if you have a cool three-way set that you'd like to power with this amplifier, you're gonna be an expert by the time you get done watching this video. There are some things you have to understand though, and they're located here on the side of the amp. The way Kicker has divided this amplifier, it kind of makes sense in that we have the signal come in here, passes through these switches, which are your signal routing, and over to the outputs here. The power that we talked about, amplifier 1 is 125 watts, 2 is 125 watts, 3 is 65 watts, and then of course the sub is the 700 watts, and those would be along here. Now the subwoofer is not located here, it's located over here. For us today, we're going to concern ourselves with just amplifier 1, 2, and 3. Not so much the sub. We will tap on it. Really, it's the signal routing through these to make these do what we want. How that works is, let's pretend this is a 2-channel RCA. It's really not. It's just a 1-channel RCA. Let's pretend it's a 2-channel RCA because it has 2 heads. If I plug it into amplifier 1, that will allow the signal from here to come out over here in my amplifier 1 output. If I unplug this and plug it into amplifier 2, that'll pass sound through amplifier 2. And I know what you're saying, if you unplug it, plug it into amplifier 3, yes, it will put sound to amplifier 3. And that's where these buttons come into place though. In the case of a three-way set, we have a front RC output. The front RC output is going to plug into your amplifier 1. These buttons can either be pushed in flat or out. If they're pushed in flat, which is kind of the default setting, that means that the signal routing from amplifier 1 will go to amplifier 1. If the signal routing from amplifier 2 will go to amplifier 2, and the signal routing from amplifier 3 will go to 3. If I push this one, that means now that the signal to feed amplifier 2 input is going to come from amplifier 1. And that's what this little top thing is telling you here. And if I push the second button and it's extended, that means amplifier 3 output will be powered from amplifier 1 input. This will allow us to plug the fronts into amplifier 1 and then put our mid-bass, mid-range, and tweeter on all of these outputs by just plugging in the 1 RCA. For those of you asking about the subwoofer, yes, I could push this and the subwoofer will turn on. However, more than likely, I'm just going to have a subwoofer RCA so I can control it from my radio or whatever you want to do. Now that we understand how the signal routing is going to work for this, let's take a look at the top of the amplifier. One of the things that has made this so confusing is that in a perfect world, amplifier 1 would always be tweeters. Amplifier 2 would be our next biggest speaker, in this case, the mid-range, and amplifier 3 would be our mid-bass. If you install an amplifier and you don't have channels 1 and 2 as the tweeter and you call for tech support, someone is going to say, what did you do? Why? Hold on. Kicker didn't think of that, and so they did things a little different, but it actually works out and it's an easy fix. This is tape. And if I draw a line here and a line here and I write mid-bass, mid-range, and tweeter, then I know that amplifier 3 is going to be my tweeter, amplifier 2 is going to be my mid-range, and amplifier 3 will be my mid-bass. I've plugged an RCA in the front. These two are extended. I'm good. So now with this, I'll know that my tweeter is powered by amplifier 3, my mid-range is powered by amplifier 2, and my mid-bass is powered by amplifier 1. The signal is all coming in through amplifier 1 input though. And these two guys are going to be out like this here. Now we can move on to our controller. Now if you're going, I don't need a piece of tape, that's cool, okay? For purposes of demonstration, the tape is very handy. The controller is designed to make the amplifier simpler to use by not having all these buttons and dials on the amplifier. It saves real estate, allows the amplifier to be smaller. There's a couple buttons over here on this side that are going to direct us to these knobs, which are the crossover, gain, and time delay. Hit the first button here that says amp select and hit it until it says amplifier 3. The second knob in the row here is high pass. We're going to turn that to our tweeter crossover point. Let's say 3.2 kilohertz. Now we don't need a low pass because it's just for tweeters. Next, hit crossover. And you can toggle between Linkwitz-Riley and Butterworth. I would suggest leaving it at Linkwitz-Riley, which is the default, and default is 24 dB. You just want to check these to make sure. Now we're going to cycle through to amplifier 2. High pass we'll put at 350 because this is our mid-range, and the low pass is going to match our tweeters high pass. This will be at 3.2. Check to make sure it's Linkwitz-Riley. Check our slope. Make sure it's at 24. Cycle around to amplifier 1. Now our high pass is going to be 80 because it's for our mid bass. And our high pass is going to match up with our mid range at 350. Linkwitz-Riley. 24 dB. We'll also cycle through to our subwoofer. We'll set our low pass to 80. And then if we want a subsonic filter, it's at 10. Maybe you want 15, maybe you want 20, whatever you want. Or you just leave it at 10. That's entirely up to you. Check our crossover type. Linkwitz-Riley, 24 dB. Now, for those of you who just want a little bit of extra, you might want to try Butterworth, 12 dB for your subwoofer. There again, this is a personal preference. Sometimes I feel this adds a little bit more oomph, especially if I'm worried about how upfront my bass is. I just want bass and I want it to fill my whole car. Give it a try. Now that we have that set up, this is telling us that amplifier 1 crossover is for our mid bass, amplifier 2 output is for our mid range, and amplifier 3 is for our tweeter, just like the sticker says. That's pretty straightforward. Now we have to do the bonus feature that's built into the amplifier, which is this guy, time delay. This allows us to delay the driver's side of the car to the passenger side of the car, meaning this tweeter that is really close to you and this one, which is out of frame because it's way over there, we want to make this tweeter disappear. We want to add some delay to this so that it's perceived to be in the same location. And when we do that, it should make the main vocal sound like it's coming from the center of the car. Not from the center of where you're at, but the center of the car, which is usually above the radio. So it should sound like somebody's singing to you from up behind the radio, which is pretty cool. Now that's not to say all the sound, it's just the main vocal should sound like it's coming from there, and the instrument should be placed around where they were engineered to be. That's one of the really cool effects of time delay. This typically only works for the driver, so if you're not interested in it, well, hey, that's cool. But give it a shot. Let's go through the whole setup before you just dismiss something, right, Fernando?
That is correct.
Now, you're gonna need some test tracks. If you belong to any one of the music streaming services, there is Sheffield Labs. It's been around forever, and they have a CD called My Disc. There's 2 tracks that you want. The first one is gonna be Polarity Pulses. And you want to play this. You're going to be playing this through the whole thing. The second track is 3 people describing in the position. You need those 2 tracks. Let's set up the amplifier so that we can start doing the delay. To do that, we need to play the tweeters by themselves first. That means pushing these 2 buttons in, removing the RCAs, and plugging them into amplifier 3. Once that's done, that means that signal coming in from the front now will only come out of amplifier 3, our tweeter amplifier. We start playing our polarity pulp track. Make sure we're on amplifier 3. Grab this knob and crank this thing. What should happen is the tweeter should sound like it just started going like this across the dash. It should now be sitting somewhere on the passenger side of the car, which is ideally not where you want it. The reason why you want to do that is so you can actually hear the change. Because if you can't hear the change, you got something wrong. But you should hear the tweeter sound now like it's all coming from over there. Start dialing it down until where it sounds like it's somewhere coming from the center of your dash. Now, polarity pop tracks, admittedly, are hard. It's something you gotta get used to doing. Fernando hates them, right?
That is correct.
The tip I will give is that you're always gonna put it too far to the passenger side. I don't know, it just happens. So bring it a little bit over to the driver's side. So if it sounds like it's perfectly centered, just bring it down maybe, you know, 1 or 2. Just like that. And now, if you go into the 3 people describing their position and go to about halfway in, you'll hear this.
In the center of your soundstage.
She should sound like she's coming from that area. Now, if she's over too far to the driver's side, turn it back up. And if she's too close to the passenger side, turn it back down until she sounds like she's where she needs to be. Keep in mind, you're going to be playing this through the tweeters, which means this is going to sound like it's not going to sound clear. It's going to be very tweeterish. And you're gonna be like, God, those things, don't worry about it. They sound fine. They're doing exactly what tweeters should do. All right, so you gotta have a little leap of faith here. With that done, what we want to do is unplug the RCAs and plug them into amplifier 2, which now the front will just feed amplifier 2 to the output of amplifier 2, which is our mid-range, the little guys. We're gonna repeat the process. Make sure we're on amplifier 2. Start playing our polarity pop tracks, turn it up way too high so it moves over way over here, and then start dialing it back until where it needs to be, and you're happy. Then play the 3 people, just having her describe where she's at in the center, and try to imagine that that's where the tweeter was. So if you need, you know, that's it, they kind of have to line up. So if you pick a spot, make sure the mid-range is going to the same spot, and then just keep working this until it's right. Now you have delay done for the tweeter and done for the mid-range, and we kind of want to hear them both at the same time so that it doesn't sound like this is like this or this is like this. They sound like they're in line with one another over in the center of the car. To do that, simply come over to the middle button and click it out. Both of these will play now because we're feeding amplifier 2 a signal, and if we want amplifier 2 to power amplifier 3, that's what this button controls. This will allow us to hear both the tweeter and the mid-range playing at the same time. If it sounds wonky, go back in and make adjustment or 2. There's simple adjustments. Don't go crazy. Just, you know, 1 or 2 here, and then if you think the tweeters are off, go to amplifier 3 and make an adjustment there. So far, so good, I hope, and we're all tracking on what's happening. Next, unplug the RCAs and plug them into amplifier 1. We do not need to touch this button. Nothing is going to happen. The sound for the tweeter and the mid-range will stop because we no longer have them connected here. We're plugged into amplifier 1. That means amplifier 1, our mid-bass, are going to start playing. Cycle back to amplifier 1 on here and start doing the process. The mid-bass is going to be what I like to call the hardest one because it's a lower frequency. It kind of is hard to pinpoint where it's at. It's going to take some time. It should, when you're done, sound like it's coming from somewhere buried deep in the dash, like behind the radio, behind the airbox. If you have a center console, it should sound like there's sound coming out from the center console. Work with it. Take your time. Now, the key is, how do I mix in my tweeter and mid-range to make sure that my mid-bass is lining up appropriately? It's actually really easy. All you have to do now is go back to the amplifier, go to your first button, and do this. All your speakers will be playing, and you can do your final adjustment. And you go, ooh, that's weird. It sounds like now it's coming from the passenger side, so start turning this down. If you need to shut them off, push that button in, and now they'll go away, and you can play with just the mid-bass again. And you can do it while the amplifier's on. As you can see, our amplifier's on. It's not gonna hurt it. We do it all the time. And then turn it back on, and make sure that all 3 speakers are nice and aligned, and it sounds fantastic. And you have a main vocal in the center of the dash and mid-bass off to the side. There is one other adjustment that you may need to play with, and that you can play with during whatever portion you want. If you're adjusting the tweeter to mid-range and it's like, oh man, when I turn them both on, this thing is railing or this thing is railing and I need some adjustment, no problem. That's where this control side here, which is the gain trim, comes into play. Sure, the amplifier has these gains on them right here, and you know you can go back and you can torque these and do all kinds of fun stuff with them. However, built into this controller is plus or minus 3 dBs of adjustment that allows you to do that really detailed adjustment between pairs of speakers. Case in point, if I'm plugged into amplifier 2 and I am playing my tweeter and mid-range only, and I need to do some adjustments between them, I can select amplifier 2 and I can turn my gain down where I can turn my gain up so that I can hear what is happening. If I go, man, my tweeters just ain't ticking like I thought they were gonna tick, put it on amplifier 3 and start turning this up until you get to like, oh, 3 is as loud as it gets. Whoa, dial it back just a little bit until you get to where you're happy with the mix between these two sets of speakers. And then plug it back into 1 and do the same thing. Make sure the button is out. Now all your speakers will be playing, and you can go back to amplifier 1 and adjust its volume so that the impact from the mid bass matches the dynamics of the mid range. It makes setting it up from the front seat pretty fun to do. Now with all of that set up, of course we need to talk about the subwoofer just a little bit, which is the sub amp. There are some features in this that are just specifically for the subwoofer. First up, we had the crossover, we set that up. Next up, we had the slope, we set that up. Phase, however, doesn't give us that adjustment that we had for the other channels. It just gives us the ability to flip the phase 180 degrees, plus or minus. So if you wanted in phase, leave it at plus. If you want it out of phase, leave it at a negative. Now I know what you're saying, I press the button and nothing happens. Cool, leave it on normal. What is supposed to happen is that you have this mid bass in the door, and this is doing its thing. Sometimes the subwoofer, even though wired properly, will become out of phase with the mid bass, and you'll get a cancellation and you'll be like, I don't know, it just doesn't have the impact I think it should have. And that's where pressing this button will bring that input back. Even though everything is polarity correct, there's a swap in phase in the subwoofer because of distance. Some cars have it, some cars don't. Give it some songs, play some different things, see what happens. But this is what this is for, is to try to bring that mid bass and subwoofer back in phase with one another. The next thing you have is gain. And you say, wait a minute, there's a gain over here, right? Yeah, there is a trim gain, but then there's also an EQ gain, and this one goes all the way up to 60 dB. If I press the button, I get a frequency. Ooh, that's cool, right? So this has a 1-band parametric EQ in it that allows me to do some bass boost by picking a frequency. I always pick 45 Hertz, I like it. Reminds me of the old Rockford punch bass. And then of course, they only give you 6 dBs of adjustment because they don't want you to go crazy with 10 or 12 and just like totally make things ridiculous. I usually stick somewhere around the 3 range. I feel that gives me enough punchiness. Bandwidth, all right? This is the Q for the EQ that is in here. Everyone always assumes that 5, right? 5 is better than 1. 5, no, it's actually the opposite. 5 is very dry, very narrow. We want big, fat, and boomy. That is 1. If we want fat, boomy bass, we're gonna leave this at 1. If we want nasty, you know, just heart, yeah, then we're gonna put this at 5. And then of course you could fall somewhere between there. But that's what this bandwidth is for, how boomy or dry you want that to be. Now the last thing you wanna do after you've gotten all of this done is to come over here and peel off this piece of tape, because you don't wanna leave this on here. I mean, this might be a little embarrassing, I don't know. But that's it. That is how you set that up. So if you have a 3-way set in there, this will allow you to do control over the 3-way. This will streamline the way you set it up and make everything so much easier to control the way these things sound and interact with your amplifier. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Fernando.
On to the next one, guys.
And the next one will actually be, what if we just have a 2-way set and then we do the unthinkable and add a rear speaker? Oh gosh, no. So that's part 2. That'll be coming up, so make sure to check that out too. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful night, and we'll see you later next time.
Bye.